Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about Conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about something interesting and intriguing. And today I have not one, but two very special guests on with me tonight, Lewis and Felicia Dilbert, and they are talking about when the holidays hurt, or we will be talking about when the holidays hurt. We are coming up on the winter holiday season, and so that can be filled with a lot of mixed feelings, right? Between all of the hustle and bustle of getting together for eating and food and all sorts of things, right? And so, and dealing with families and traditions and maybe loved ones that are no longer with us. So we're going to talk about it. But before I bring them on, I need to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And your comments, your questions are very much so welcome. So if you will, in the comments, put your city and state so we can give you a shout out. This is an interactive live, and we definitely want to hear from you. So I see Miss Warrior Woman Powell she was waiting. She was in here before we even got started. So we appreciate you being with us this evening. So again, we want to engage with you. So definitely like, share, tag a friend, and let them know they need to be part of this conversation. So I know that there'll be more folks joining us momentarily, but I'm going to go ahead and share the Dilbert's bio. So Dr. Lewis and Felicia Dilbert are the husband and wife team behind When the Holidays Hurt, which is a 7-week guided experience designed to help people navigate grief, protect their peace, and rediscover hope during the holiday season. Together, they blend faith, lived experience, and compassionate insight to create sacred spaces for healing. Felicia is a best-selling author, certified life coach, and founder of Beautiful Healing, a ministry devoted to helping women find confidence in Christ and transform pain into purpose. Lewis brings a background in community leadership, mentorship, and advocate for justice, offering grounded wisdom and a heart for helping others rediscover joy after loss. Through When the Holidays Hurt, the Dilberts walk alongside others with a powerful reminder, even in seasons of sorrow, God's light still shines and no one has to walk through the darkness alone. Y'all help me welcome Lewis and Felicia Dilbert.
Hey. Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome. So glad y'all are here.
So glad to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Absolutely. So y'all tell the peoples one by one, who are you? Tell us who Felicia is. Tell us who Lewis is in your own words. Not what you do, but who are you?
Well, I am Lewis, and I originally from Miami, Florida. I'm married to this lovely woman for 12 years now. And I'm just a person that loves people, enjoys people. As she knew when she first married me, I'm an extrovert.
Yes, God.
I have my introverted ways sometimes. Sometimes we don't want to be bothered. But I have a passion for education. I've been in higher education for 20 years. And, I just, again, we love God's people. And I've just enjoyed life, being able to, be serving in that way, connected with people.
Awesome. This is my sugar. This is my heart. This is my love. So I'm Felicia Dilbert, and I love Louis, very much. I am originally from South Georgia, Pelham to be exact. So this Miami City boy, got my heart early on when we met, and I love doing life with Louis. We have a lot of fun, and we help each other, and that's a lot of what we'll be speaking about tonight with When the Holidays Hurt. But yes, I wrote a book called Beautiful Healing, and it did really well on Amazon. And I love helping women discover their passion and their purpose, and to know that there is purpose in their pain, and that's a big part of what Beautiful Healing is all about. And so it's been really cool to work with Louis with getting this program up and off the ground When the Holidays Hurt, and we're so excited to talk with you tonight about it.
Awesome. I love that your sentiment about I love doing life with him, because that's exactly what it is, right? Doing life with one another. All right. So we have several folks who have chimed in. My mom down in Miami. Thank you for being here. Takesha is here. Thank you for being here. And Ms. Donda is here from Tallahassee. Thank you.
All church folk.
Yep. Nice. So talk to us a little bit about When the Holidays Hurt. As I read in the bio, it's a 7-week community,
Yes.
virtual community in the holiday season. But talk to us about the launching of it and kind of what inspired it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk about the inspiration first. Basically, When the Holidays Hurt is about that individual that may have that feeling of, oh, it's that time of year again. Maybe they've lost a family member, or maybe this time of year feels heavy because they're reflecting on what might have been, or where they would have hoped they were this time last year, or where they want to be. So they don't have that feeling of peace about where they're at in their journey. And around the time when I experienced loss with my folks, the holidays were involved during the time of their suffering and then passing, and so that has really made a dent in how I experienced the holidays. And for the first few years, it was really trying, and Louis has helped me to find ways to rediscover and redefine the holiday season, and that is really what helped us to this has come from a lot of conversations that we've had about the holidays, and how can we make it a different experience, and what can we do differently. And so it was this time last year we were thinking about launching a program called Grief Support, and we had a website and all this different stuff, and it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time at all. And so this year the Lord sent us this wonderful young lady named Felicia Dilbert, and she's a designer of all the visuals and all the website and the Instagram, and she's taken the vision and really ran with it. And so God put all these pieces together at the right time. And and so just to mention a little bit, to be specific, during each week of the program, we'll be focusing on different themes. So like week 1 is finding God in the grief. So being able to really connect with Heavenly Father and identify where is God in all this pain. And then week 2 is healing doesn't mean forgetting. So we're honoring those that we've lost, or making peace with the losses that we've experienced, and then embracing how this season can also be a matter of embracing what is. So honoring what was, acknowledgement is huge, because if you don't acknowledge it, then you can't really embrace anything else. It has to be acknowledged. Call a thing a thing, and then you can have that opportunity to redefine the holiday narrative, and then we're going to definitely talk about boundaries and protecting your peace, because that's huge. Choosing joy without guilt. How can you exist and love life and be okay with being like, for me, it was very difficult for me for a while. I'm here feeling survivor's guilt. I wish I've lost a friend of mine, a close friend, wish she was here. I shouldn't really be happy. She wouldn't be, like that kind of narrative that was not true. And so I'm excited to partner with other professionals and clinicians that will also be contributing to the program on our Sunday night Selah Sundays, where we get a chance to hear from the clinical licensed therapists and clinicians giving their input on it, so that we have that whole educated experience.
Right.
Love that.
If I may add to that, we really want people to walk away with understanding that grief is not just one dimensional, right? And or just about death, but there are lots of different types of grief that people experience. Somebody may have lost a pet. Some people may have lost a job, especially this economy. There's political grief out there that people are experiencing. Some people have retired, and they're used to doing something related to their job or being somewhere for the holiday season. And it really, this thing extends beyond November and December, because sometime throughout the year there's going to be a first time for everything.
Yeah.
And that can bring feelings of joy, or that could be feelings of sorrow or sadness. So
yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. And one thing I'll add too with what you just said, husband, is the folks that don't feel needed anymore. We have our elderly and our seniors, and they used to grandchildren needing them, our children needing them. Can you help me with this, grandma? Can we do that? And as people age, they may not feel as needed, and that can so this is for anybody of any age to be a part of this community.
Nice. I love that. So I want to pause because we do have a few more folks that have joined us. Letitia, who is here in Tallahassee, thank you so much for being here. Mr. Enigma Sep, Emmanuel, he said, much needed on my dad's birthday. Yes, thank you for sharing that, E, and thank you for being here. And Donda gave it another hello there. I think when you mentioned that she was one of your church members. Lisa Harry Myrick, she said, hey, Conversations with Nicole. Maybe it's me, but I swear I just left you at another meeting less than an hour ago. You sure did. And I had one after that one too. So you know how we out in these streets. But I love you. I appreciate you being here, Lisa. And my cousin Nora in Virginia. Thank you for being here, Nora. I appreciate you so much. So you laid out several topics that I think are so definitely worth exploring, and folks can connect with you all in terms of you have a website that you've launched. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
www.whentheholidaysHurt.com.
All right. And these sessions will start on November 30th. Okay.
November
All right.
30th. Yes.
So tell us a little more about, kind of what folks can expect and the costs associated with it, all the things.
Sure thing. So like we said, it's a 7 week faith-based journey. And we'll cover several topics related to grief, as my wife already said. But we also want to delve into, because grief is, like I said, not just one dimensional, but I myself I've been blessed not to have to personally grieve much throughout my life. I've had some grief experiences, but in the short 12 years that we married, she lost both of our parents, our grandmother, but I've experienced, job loss. As you know, I ran for office, and that was a journey for me as well. And so we have our different personal experience with grief, but I really, really got a chance to really hone in on what it's like to be a caretaker for someone who is grieving, right? Especially, my mom is 78, my dad is 91, and eventually, I will, if I outlast them, I will have to grieve them as well. So I will then have a shared experience with her, but nobody goes through that. I cannot feel what she feels. I can only empathize from my perspective as her helpmight.
Right.
But there's a grief also as a caretaker and the things that you may want to do, but you might, because you love somebody, you might refrain from doing them. You might want to go and go be with family for the holidays, but it might not be the right time, and you have to put your priorities in place. So I think this is for those who want to know how to support someone who is grieving, as well as individuals who are grieving themselves. So we'll go to different modules, and we'll go through a workbook, and people will have, participants will have a devotional every day that they can look to for support, and the community as well, because we want people to be able to be honest when they might be having a hard time, and we also provide them with resources that they can use to help them get through the season.
Right. That's awesome, husband. We definitely are excited that we'll be utilizing the school platform. So that's SKOOL. And
Okay, I'm glad you spelled it. I'm glad you spelled it for us.
okay, yeah, school. And I had never really explored it, but I've been in groups before with coaches and different interest groups, and I have seen their school classrooms, and you see these different people doing things on Instagram and all this different stuff happening out here with these influencers and creators. And so I was excited to see how we could use that platform to be able to bring this education and this experience to people. And it's really, really interactive and very confidential. So people will have a username and their own login credentials. So, unlike Facebook, it's just you're there. If you're in a private group, you're still exposed to different things, and it may not be. I don't feel like that's the safest space, for your heart and your grief and all. So we, Felicia built out a great classroom for us, and like we mentioned, each week we'll have a different theme, and so I'm really looking forward to connecting with people that maybe they're like, I haven't lost anybody, kind of like Lou, I'm good, but maybe they do have these moments throughout the day where they think back or they compare themselves to others online, and they don't feel that they're really living their real, if somebody says living my best life, they may be like, I wish I could figure out what that is for myself. That's a form of grief, of not feeling that you fully actualize your best self. This is also for a woman, maybe a widow. A man may have lost his wife or partner, or people that long to be in a relationship, and people that have different situations with their family relationships, and they have loneliness they may experience. So it's not necessarily, and the last thing I say too is what I love about the virtual space is that you get a chance to create this opportunity. You get a chance to make it however you want it to be, meaning if you don't want to be in the group chat all the time, because there will be a space for a group chat, but that's not the only way that we communicate, then you don't have to do that. If you want to read the devotional, and which Lewis and I have been writing together, if you want to read that and you want to process through that, and you have your moments each day, that's for you in your quiet time. If you want to go in the public area and share your thoughts or prayer requests, great. If not, you don't have to. You don't have to talk on the Zooms when we have the clinicians. You don't have to come to them if you don't want to. This is a complete. However, I will say though, when I've had the best experiences with opportunities when I have really gotten engaged and plugged in and gotten the most out of it, when I've put a lot in. So we really want folks that are willing to try something new, and that really know in the depths of their heart that they long for something more, or that they're identified even with what we're saying right now. We want you to take a look and see what this is all about. It's $97, and that's a very, very reasonable investment into a new experience. And one other thing that really occurred to me when I was getting prepared to come on here is that the holidays can feel so overwhelming, but every day you're getting up and you're living your life, Lord willing. You're getting up and it may not feel good. You may feel down. You may, you have these different emotions, but that's a new, fresh day of life. And I wouldn't want somebody to struggle in silence or suffer in silence and feel that they don't have anybody that they can have some type of community with. And so we just don't want people to be struggling alone.
Nice. All right. So we got a few more folks that have joined us. I definitely want to acknowledge them. Lee H. Williams, love you, sis.
Hey, brother. Love you, boo.
What's up, brother?
So that's your brother.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. Leslie Steele in Tennessee. Thank you for being here, Leslie. Appreciate you tuning in. Tracy Gole, she said 2 out of 6 left, and I think she's talking about maybe her siblings or loved ones. So she's
Okay.
had a lot of transitions. So thank you for joining us, Tracy. We got Coach Anna, who I consider to be a grief guru. She is down in Central Florida and has been on the show a time or two. So thank you for joining us, Coach Anna. My sister Shayla is here. Love you, Shay. Thank you for being here. And Lisa said it was years before I realized I was grieving the loss of so many loved ones who had passed right before the holidays. Yes. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing that. And send lots of ease and compassion and love to you in this moment, because again, this is what this conversation and what the Dilberts will be offering is all about, right? Providing support to folks that the holidays hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Christy is on with us. Thank you for being here. And Miss Val, she said holidays can be tough. Indeed, they can be, Val. So thank you all for being on here with us. So I want to dive a little bit into, because you all have said a lot already, kind of just, said it, but I want to just pause just a little bit, slow it down just a little bit. In terms of what people are grieving. I know a lot of times when we talk grief, a lot of times people's thoughts automatically go to death, like physical death of a loved one, but it could just be loss. It could be, as we call, ambiguous grief or unrealized hopes, dreams, aspirations, expectations, that sort of thing. And so, all of that can be heightened during the holiday season, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I think all of us have said at one point in time, I thought by this year I would be, or I thought by this Christmas or this Thanksgiving or this March or wherever goal we set, I would be. I would be married. I would be a parent. I would be in a better financial position. You know, there's a lot of things that we say, and we ask God, why am I not there yet? And sometimes we have to look at ourselves and take a deep look and see, what we need to change to be able to achieve that. But we all have had that conversation, I think, with ourselves at one point in time when we're setting goals for ourselves. So the grief can be in that you're having one more holiday season not having achieved what you would like to achieve. And then we hit the new year and we get those New Year's resolutions and we start all over and get hope again. But we want you to have hope even before you even get to New Year's, so the anticipation. So I think that's part of the different types of grief that we have. And I want to touch on a second about managing expectations, because Felicia said 4 words earlier: you don't have to. And a lot of times during the holidays, we feel obligated, to be able to do stuff. We've all been at those repasts where, Big Mama or somebody is just working like crazy, and probably trying to keep herself busy to avoid thinking about the fact that, possibly, but trying to take care of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's why when we're in community, we need to start looking, paying more attention to people during this grief season. If you're a family of people that is grieving, don't press on someone so hard. You know what I'm saying? They might be dependable, they might be reliable, but really we have to learn to start looking out for each other and not assuming that because somebody's not crying or they don't look like they're grieving, that they're not. That's right. Give people that space, but minimize expectations. And that's the hardest thing. Some people feel like they have to go home. They have to be with the family. And it might be some trauma there that they don't want to re-experience. And we're just, some generations don't feel like, you should still be around family. Come on. And they can be very pushy, and you have to have a level of resilience to get people to respect your boundaries, and say no. So manage those expectations.
Yeah.
So I want to get the listeners involved, and this might be a little sticky, so I'm just forewarning you. But I want you all to the extent that you feel comfortable sharing, and I'm not gonna have you say specifically what this is, but how many of you feel a certain level of obligation as it relates to your family during this holiday season? And you can just give us a thumbs up or raise your hand or what have you. Um, whether that's to gather, to cook the meal, or to host people at your house, or to have to buy gifts for everybody,
Mhm.
or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
How many of you feel a sense of obligation? And let me add this caveat: and you don't really want to be obligated in this way, and it's okay if you don't. It really is no judgment here.
Mhm.
It's okay. All right. We do have a few folks that are chiming in, and I appreciate your honesty and transparency as it relates to that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that for the sake of this conversation, because one of the things that the three of us talked about is the whole idea of what I should be doing, right?
Mhm.
And people kind of guilting you into, well, you should be doing this, that, or the other, right? Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a few years since this happened, but it happens still sometimes with people that don't really know you, don't really know if they can say this or not. But we don't have any children yet,
Mm.
and we want to be parents.
Mhm.
And if anybody knows how much we want to be parents, it's us.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
people have said things over the years, and I'm not talking about or singling anybody out. Hey, Felicia,
Mm.
I'm not singling anybody out. But people have said, when are you gonna give Lewis some children?
Mm. When
You
you
know,
gonna give them? When,
and that's old school, right? So you have an
oh,
old person,
good.
that's that old school, but it's like, what? He would nobody ever asked him that, or
Oh, I've had
you
people
know,
ask me
well,
more.
not like when you gonna give
Mhm.
Right,
Felicia some child,
right.
or it was the shame piece for
Mm.
me. It
Mhm.
was just
Mm.
so and another lady love her dearly, but also very stuck in her ways. We used to work together years ago, and she would always ask every year, y'all working on them babies when and it's like, who get out of my uterus? You know what I mean? Like, you
Let
don't
me
even know
get out of
what's
my bedroom, ma'am. What's wrong with you?
going on. So, but we grieve.
Mm.
We do. Lewis will be an awesome daddy.
Mm.
I know it, and I want to, and I have hope. I do have my moments.
Mm.
I do struggle.
Mm.
I have faith in God. I do. But we talk about adopting. We talk
Mm.
about fostering. I don't know if we can do that.
Mm.
We have to give the children back. I just don't know. We have to talk about that. But we got a lot of love to give. We
Mhm.
love helping people, and I know children would be a blessing.
Mhm.
But I've had people ask that.
Yeah.
I'm neurodivergent, so I experience my
Mm.
world in different way.
Mm.
Lewis has always
Mm.
respected that. There's certain
Mm.
um if it's real loud, sometimes,
Mm.
like at a football game or something, sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm I struggle a little bit
Mm.
with that.
Mm.
There's certain things, there's a grief that comes along with that, with having to mask,
Mm.
and be ready to connect automatically.
Mhm.
And you might not have that natural inclination, kind of a introvert. But
Mm.
with my husband and the work that he does, that is something I had to really learn how to. I had to be willing to want to learn how to embrace people more and connect the dots better. When it comes to getting out of my own comfort zone, and being okay with even reading up
Mhm.
on, technique, even with
Mm.
small talk, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Just to get
Mm.
more comfortable,
Mm.
instead of, I'm not doing that. And
Mm.
when he ran for office, I needed to be there. I didn't want some little Pop Tarts popping up next to him in pictures and stuff. I needed to be there, so I had to figure that out. You know what I'm saying?
Pop-Tarts.
I had to be there. So yeah, I had to work through that.
Indeed, indeed. So I just wanted to pause there because I think, that obligation, and again, we did have several folks that chimed in. Some have said they've made adjustments. Some still, feel this sense of obligation that they really don't want it. And I like what Donda said. She said that she is, but she's learning to be safe in her grief.
That's good.
That's right.
That's good.
right.
To be
Yeah.
safe in my grief. I think that's such a powerful statement.
That
Mhm.
really is.
Yeah, it is. So we are I got to pause right here. We're about halfway through our conversation. Time is flying right on by. But for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm on with Felicia and Louis Dilberts, and the Dilberts are launching When the Holidays Hurt, which is a 7-week support group
Mhm.
for folks that are just sometimes, over the holidays, over all of the obligations, the hustle and bustle, the expectations of gifts and consuming all this food and doing all of the things, right? That this kind of Western capitalistic society, you know, kind of enforces or pushes upon us, right? Because we see all of this um, in the regular media and social media, in the programming on, television, on radio, all of the media outlets, right? And so it can be just way too much. So we have somebody that's laughed at the Pop-Tart comment, uh-huh. And we got the Kendra Mitchell on with us. She said, "Oh wow, I know so many people who would appreciate this." Yes, which
Yeah.
is exactly why we having this conversation, Dr. K. So
Mhm.
thank you. Please like, please share, please tag a friend and tell them they need to be part of this conversation.
Yes.
So we talked around kind of what people are grieving, caretaking for someone that's grieving. And one of the things that, again, the three of us talked about was the capacity to hold space, and that not everybody has the capacity to hold space for you, especially when you are grieving, right?
Yes.
And so it's important to identify who those potential people might be.
Mhm.
While they might not even necessarily recognize it, but you know who those folks are in your
Mhm.
circle, right?
Mhm.
And if you can't identify those people in your circle, then it might be a good time for you to consider going to a licensed professional.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And even, there's a lot of times people put barriers in front of stuff like that. Like, I can't go see a counselor because I can't afford it. And that's real for some people. Fortunately, you work for the state, most people have EAP programs, or maybe you need to ask your employer what resources are out there. But seek the opportunity, because you're right. Some people might not understand grief. I'm going to speak from a male perspective for a second. You know, sometimes it's hard to see your woman cry. You know what I'm saying? Your significant other cry, and our natural obligation is to our inclination is to fix it. Okay, get your tissue. Okay, well, what can I do? What can I do? And you might not need to do anything. Just sit, and that's hard for some people. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so I really challenge people, men and women alike, who have a hard time sitting around people who are crying, to just try to be there, be present. You don't
Mhm.
have to say anything. And it's hard, because the more set in somebody's ways that they are, the harder it is to try to depend on them to do that. I love my mother to death, but if I asked her to just sit and be, she might, hey, let's get some soup. Let's say, she's gonna be mom. She's gonna be like, and one thing my mom should do, she'll pray. So she'll do that, which is good. But some people, you got to choose those people that you could rely on to be there for you without judgment, because your grief may come from even something that you did, that you feel shame about, and it may not be, that if you share with the public, they're going to judge you in a different type of way. So it's important to have that trust circle, whoever those people are, and God will reveal those individuals to you if you seek Him in an acknowledgement of finding those people, because it may not be that person that you are around all the time.
Right. Something that is an indicator that that you're confiding in someone that's not a safe space, is a person that's like, wow, that's too much. Or don't come around here. You always coming around here crying, or, you have to hold your heart, hold your emotion. It's precious. It's precious. And it's when you're grieving and you're in the thick of it, unfortunately it can spill over easily into the wrong hands. And you have to get the strength within yourself deeply and look to see who is the right person for you to talk to, pray. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't have anybody, sign up for our program, because we're a start. It's a first base, you know what I mean? And the clinicians are going to be available. We're not doing anything that we should not be doing. We're peer educators. We are pulling from resources that are available, but we're leaning on the doctors and the clinicians, because they're the ones, like if you think about a chiropractor, the chiropractor is the doctor, the clinicians are the doctors. What we do, we're the ice pack. We're helping to help those joints when you've just gotten your adjustment, you know what I mean? Or you're looking to get support, and we are gladly ushering you on to get that right help. Exactly. And to me, I think that's a great part of your support system. You can build your support system. And like with Lewis, when I was dealing with chronic illness, when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I had to learn how to understand food, understand my A1C, and that I found that out the day after my mother's funeral. I found out how sick I was, actually the day before. But if you're interested in my story, you can purchase my book. It's called Beautiful Healing. But Lewis, he struggled with seeing me so I won't say broken, but I was struggling, and he struggled, but then he also made it possible for me to not have to work so I could take care of my dad when my father was, and so he helped in ways that he might not have felt was he could always do everything. But that's also kind of like a tough thing. A person doesn't know they're signing up for to be married to somebody that's going to lose their parents and have so much loss. He had no idea, so we're all doing this life for the first time. So we got to give ourselves peace, give ourselves grace, but also acknowledge that when you feel and within yourself, that's something good, that's positive. Like, be confident in yourself to think for yourself. And that's how healing can happen too.
Right.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Well, going back to the expectations piece, Nicole, sometimes you have to remove you can't go into an arena or an area space and expect everyone to understand. Okay. For example, you used to go into the party, right? The holiday party, and you're grieving, and you're going to be sad the whole time. Let's not act like there's not people out there who want some attention, right? And so don't be that person that say, I'm going to go into the arena and I'm going to go into and I want everybody to cater to my grief. That's where we can become selfish, right? And and it can cause relationships to be, if you're grieving that you're not married yet, and you want to support a friend and go to a wedding, but you really don't feel up to it, decline the invitation. Say, I love you, but they'll understand.
Support in a different way.
But what we don't want you to do is be pouting at this person's wedding, okay? Because of the fact that creates a whole nother grief for other people, and it messes up a moment. So we have to also be responsible with our grief as well, and not put ourselves in a position that might cause other people to end up hurting because we had a certain set of expectations.
That's good.
Absolutely. That is good. That is good. We have one more person just join us, Brother Malcolm. Thank you for being here. Dr. K said that's excellent advice. Thank you so much, Dr. K. So I want to, one of the other things that we talked about was, folks saying that they hate the holidays, right?
Yeah.
So I want to dive into that. Like, why are folks hating the holidays? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Why are you hating the holidays? Like, it could be, and you don't have to give us a long story as it relates to it, but it could be family issues. It could be budgeting issues, right? Because you feeling like, folks have expectations that I'm gonna have to come up off this money to, buy the latest and the greatest toy or
Mhm.
whatever is the latest and the greatest. It could be loneliness. You don't want to be alone, right? You're anticipating being alone. Or it could be you anticipating that you're gonna have to work because maybe you're in retail and you got to work overtime, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And shoppers, that's
yeah.
what
Right.
Sometimes
expectations.
I think about the people that maybe are newly divorced, or even that have been divorced. Maybe there's no time frame to it, but the kids, your kids going to the other parents' house, or you maybe don't like their family, or just the grief of that, or the children feeling that grief,
Mm,
of going to different people's houses. You don't know who's around them.
mhm,
I think it could be all sorts of different things.
mhm,
I think it's a time of year too that is just almost so close to the new year. So it's time to think about what I've been doing all year, if I'm where I want to be, and then comparison is a lot of, I think, people's it troubles a lot of people, and social media is everywhere. And so it's
mhm,
like you don't even realize that you're doing it, but it can be a silent kind of thing that's causing you some inner turmoil about how you're feeling about your life or yourself,
mhm,
or where
Mhm.
you want to be or whatnot.
mhm,
So
Absolutely.
just so many different things.
So we got a few folks that have chimed in. Chrissy said, "Child of divorced parents."
mhm.
hmm Yes. Ish said, "When families are supposed to be coming together, there are situations and circumstances keeping them apart." Ooh,
Yeah.
is yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So I want to pause right there because to me, that's when those tough conversations have to happen, right?
yeah.
Potentially, because
Right.
we don't want the next time we see these people be at somebody's funeral.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's real.
And sometimes, and
That's real.
God to reveal when the right time is for you to have that
Okay.
conversation, because when it comes to family, particularly your decision not to go may be based off of something that is private to you that nobody knows, and
Right.
you may not be wanting to. There might be somebody present that that they bother your spirit, and that you just and mom might not understand that, sister might not understand it, brother might not understand it, cousin, your favorite cousin might not understand that. But until you're ready to say something, some people, unfortunately, they do result to not telling the truth. And I'm not saying don't tell the truth, but if you just say you make a decision not to go, it could be for a variety of reasons, even if
Right.
they're right up the road. Because when your family is in close proximity, I imagine that's really challenging, or whatnot, if they stay in the same city with you, because they be like, "Wait, you up the road? Where you at?" You know. And so, at some point in time, you got to decide if you are able to confide in someone, and
Mm,
really, and if you need a professional to help you with that, please seek that. Don't go at it just in your mind how you think you should, but there might be a way, a strategy that you could do to get through that moment where it might be Thanksgiving and everybody's expecting you to be there, and you're just choosing that you're not going to be there.
mhm.
And
Indeed,
yeah,
indeed. Felicia said, "Not so much hate the holidays. I hate that they're no longer like it was growing up because of how many essential loved ones are gone, grieving that it'll never be the same."
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely.
You think
Yes, my
about the
sister.
foods. We think about the holidays. And my grandmother was the centerpiece of our family. So
Mhm,
when holidays came, yeah, people would gladly travel and do it, because it's grandma's house, and you know it was some chaos usually somewhere around there, but they love the chaos, and so the little petty arguments and things and stuff. But everybody still loved each other, and grandma had a way of just bringing everybody together. But when grandma passed away, we haven't had a gathering. My
mhm,
grandmother passed away in 2012, and we haven't had a gathering like that since.
mhm,
And not even a funeral, say, or anything like that. We haven't had something to bring us together. And some people do reunions and
mhm,
different things. And after COVID, you had some people that stopped doing those things. And so
mhm,
it's just that nostalgia. That's one thing about memories and stuff. Sometimes a smell sometimes a commercial or a show reminds you of those days when you were a youth and you were carefree and you didn't have to pay bills and you didn't have to worry about relationships and you were just out there playing out there with your cousins, right?
Right.
And you wish you could do that as a grown adult, right? But it might look funny. And so but in all seriousness, some those centerpieces, are and my mother and my father are the patriarch and the matriarch of my family. And
Mm.
so the eldest living relatives. And so I reside that might be the next time that I see most of my family. But sometimes you have to be intentional. If it's grieving you to be away from your family, sometimes you have to make the sacrifices to get to them, so that you can be there during the holiday if you wanted to be there.
Right. So, Christy said, have had to take care of everyone else, me last.
Mm.
Mm.
Sorry, Christy.
Yeah.
And then she also added first holiday without both of my parents.
Oh,
Sorry.
Christy.
Yeah.
I offer you my condolences. Please consider joining our group so we can love on you.
Yeah. Please do.
For sure.
Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving this year's anniversary of her father's passing.
Yeah.
And her father was just like a father figure to me. And I really felt like we were at that point where we're really building a strong relationship, and then he passed away.
Yeah.
And the conversations I would have with him, I couldn't even have my own father. And so my father's dementia now. So, it's kind of like he doesn't recognize who I am, who I am, which is fine. But, that the time has passed to be able to build that relationship per se like that. And I had my father in my life my whole life, but those conversations I had with her dad, I found myself randomly grieving, sometimes thinking about something funny he said, a moment that we had together, 5:30 in the morning when I was going to the gym and he was going to a health appointment or whatnot. And those moments are special. And I think that's why we have memories, and we got to hold tight to them, those things, while we are missing our loved one or those people during the holiday season.
Yeah, so true. So true. So true. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to with our group is the second week where we really talk about honoring those that we've lost, and just making space for what it looks like to live on in honor of someone. Maybe, like when I was preparing for this tonight, I started praying and was just thinking through, how I wanted it to go out and how I wanted this all play out. And I just thought about it. And I was like, this is in honor of my parents, because they have had, unfortunately, because they died, that has taught me so much. And grief has taught me, grief has been a difficult teacher, but I learned so much. And there's gifts that come in the grief that I now see as gifts, in that reframing, kind of like what you were mentioning. But I see the lack of people pleasing. There was a time when I would put on that face and, and just go, and I can't do that anymore, which I'm grateful for. But in the shaking and the gripping of losing somebody you love so much, pretending is not even an option. And that's a gift, because it used to be kind of easy, let me just go and do this and be around and just, but you start to really come into your truth, so honoring. I think about this young lady that just mentioned she just lost her parents. We're not into toxic positivity, so we're not, okay, let's be positive and all about positivity. Love the Lord. But there is a time and a place. And that's why with this, anybody that's interested in being a part, sometimes, you come to the table, you got to just get a little piece and just chew on that. It might not be the time to go all out. You may not be able, but if you're in the midst of the conversation, that is what helped me begin to heal. Initially, I couldn't even really talk about certain things with my dad because I was with him every day, taking care of him and helping him. But then I started, and I'll share this in transparency. I went to Capital Regional, right? Okay, Capital Regional, they offer in outpatient support groups. And so
Mhm.
after I lost my father, I went to one of those, and I was there for half a day every day for about 3 weeks.
Mm.
And it helped me get up out the bed and
Mm.
have a new schedule. I wasn't working yet, so I needed to get up and be around people and process through what had happened, in this group setting. And they
Mhm.
still offer that. It's HCA hospital
Mm.
now. But that really helped me to establish a new normal. And then
Mm.
I was able to get back into my own routine. But everything I was doing had become very much so involved with that, which was an honor. But I had to
Mhm.
pivot back to liveliness,
Mhm.
and get back into, and so now I honor a lot of
Mm.
those jokes he would tell,
Mm.
and a lot of stuff I can look back and I can reflect and
Mm.
have
Mm.
a sense of peace about it, and
Mm.
not just doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to come back to that comment in just a moment, but we have a few more folks that have put some words in the chat. So T.S. McNoy said, reminder of what and who you don't have, the stress of expectations and not slowing down to enjoy and focus on Jesus in the special Advent season. That's, I think, what T.S. McNoy is mentioning that they don't like about the holidays. Um,
Mhm.
and they say amen to that. Often so much hustle and bustle and stress to navigate. Absolutely. And then Coach Anna said, grief has the power to transform life. It breaks
Mhm.
the barriers.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. We got Miss Margot down in the Orlando area joining us. Thank you for being here. And my good friend Michael Cork here in Tallahassee just came from the Remember Me project over at Early's Kitchen. They had a fundraiser tonight uh,
Mm.
to support youth, teenagers in foster care, and they
Mhm.
raise money, buy gifts, and gift cards for them during the
Hey.
holiday season. So
Mm.
uh, I feel like that's one way that we could reframe, the holiday season
Yeah.
is maybe doing something for others, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you, Michael
That's
Court,
something.
you and the
Yeah.
team for all you all do. So Donna said, don't avoid the pain, but allow it, maybe by allowing yourself to feel or
Yeah.
Allow
Allow
yourself to
yourself to
feel.
feel it, because some
allow
people
yourself
try to
to allow.
drown the pain, and unfortunately, people do that in unhealthy ways sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
we gotta guard our hearts so that our grief doesn't turn into a habit or into something that might further put us in further detriment.
Right. And it doesn't become your identity.
Right.
You know, that's
Yeah.
something Lou really helped me with, that you don't want to identify with it. When I was diagnosed with the diabetes, it was getting to where I was thinking about this, taking my sugar, checking this, and did I eat enough protein? And he helped me to realize, baby, that is what you are dealing with, but you are not
It.
defined by that. Right. So let's
Yeah.
stretch out of that kind of lifestyle,
Because we do grieve when we can't eat certain things, because
Nope.
Yes,
I'm
it was
here,
real.
and so
It was real. It was real. I
you
went through
you on a
that.
you on a diet during Thanksgiving, you might have some grief
Yeah.
of not having to
Yeah.
be able to eat everything that's on the table like everybody else. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, Leslie commented. She said, I miss my niece. She made the choice to leave. I grieve my son being in prison. I fight every day to get my joy back. I have made up my mind that I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that for you, my sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so continue to fight for your joy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
I was just telling Felicia this week, unfortunately, there was a student at FSU that committed suicide, and
Mhm.
uh, and and this person was in community, was active on campus,
Mhm.
involved, and I've seen that happen way too often lately. People who are, they're in your face one day and they're gone the next day, and you have no idea. I think, and so suicide has really become a heart posture for me, like really something that's as I gotta ask God what to do with that, but it grieves me. Somebody I don't even know that they it's so young would decide that's in spite of having what we appear to be the support around them, made the decision that that's what they're going to do. So really, it's a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
important
Very
thing.
And
So,
mental illness is real. You know, people need doctors. You know,
Mhm.
need help
Mhm.
with those decisions, the thinking pattern. You know, it's not just something certain folks go do. You know, it's medical, just as real as somebody having cancer. You know, so I'm glad your show always, Nicole, you spread awareness and bring awareness to mental disorders, mental calamities, always with what you're doing, and I love that and appreciate that very much about you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we got Tamela Young on with us. Thank you for joining us, Tamela. She said, I'm learning to feel so that I can heal. It's not easy, but it's necessary.
Yes.
That's a whole word right there, Tamela. So thank you for sharing that. Yes, in order to heal, you must feel. And
Yes.
it may be hurtful, it may be painful, but you got to go through to get through to the other side, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I forget what I want to circle back to. I started talking about something else, but it's all right. We we are at the I think at the end of our conversation because all of my points that we talked about we have covered. So I want to give you all opportunity to give some closing remarks, tell the people how they can connect with you, and then tell them one more again about this new virtual experience that you all are offering to the world actually.
Yes, yes. So if you're on Facebook and you're interested in learning more about our group, there is a free group that we have Grief called New Hope Grief Support and Grief Support. I'm sorry, Grief Support New Hope. And so that's actually the group that we started last year, and it's evolved into the When the Holidays Hurt program that we're offering. So if you are someone is dealing with pain, suffering, loss, or has lost someone, or dealing with depression, or just having a troubling time this time of year, please tell them to check out our program, When the Holidays Hurt. That's also the URL, www.whentheholidays.hurt.com. We have a 7-week experience that we've created in secure login website called School, SKOOL. And we would love for you to walk alongside you as we talk with clinicians each week and as we walk through our devotional that we develop for hope and healing so that you can not suffer through this holiday season alone. We want you to be in community and not suffering in silence.
Right. And there's hope and healing. So, I've been able to witness it firsthand. And we want this again. We're walking through grief. We're not walking to grief. So grief is not our destination. It's something that we are helping you walk through as we walk through ourselves. So being in community together is the best place that you can be, a safe space during this holiday season. So
Right. And the last thing I'll add is just that sometimes I like to think of being ready, willing, and able. But sometimes we're not all three of those at one time, And so, again, if you are interested in not just being alone all the time, maybe you got your cell phone, you can always look on Facebook and all that, but maybe you want to do something a little bit different. Give yourself a chance to grow and consider being a part of our program. We would love to have you.
yeah.
All right, very good. Well, I want to thank you both for taking time to chat with us today. This has been a great conversation. I hope that our viewers have benefited from it. And if you have, let us know in the comments. We really would like to hear from you. For those of you who may be new to the platform, I invite you to subscribe to Conversations with Nicole. We are here live on Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m., focused primarily on mental health and wellness in Black and Brown communities. Also on TikTok, Conversations with Nicole. And yeah, this is what we're doing. So I see a few folks are chiming in. Let's see. Coach Anna said Jesus was trauma informed, experienced grief, and so can we. We must feel to heal, and naming what we are feeling is key. Yes, this is a great conversation. Thank you. Thank you, Coach Anna. Appreciate that so much. Lisa, thank you both for all you do. Yes. Dr. K, great discussion. Yes, thank you. Great show, Cole. Thank you, sis. Chandra, she said thank you. Appreciate you. Cousin Nora, good conversation. Thank you, Cousin Nora. Sending you lots of love because I know this is a heavy topic. Donda, awesome conversation. Thank you both. Thank you, Donda and Tamela. This is helpful. Thank you both for sharing. Thank you so much. So let's please keep this conversation going. Please share this with somebody that you think will benefit from the conversation, and reach out to the Dilberts. Go to their website. Again, the program is $97, but it's 7 weeks of connection, is 7 weeks of information that'll be shared not only by Felicia and Lewis, but by clinicians, and a wealth of resources I know will be provided as well. So yes, so let's do it. Let's do it. You deserve it. All right. All right. Christy, thank you so much for the discussion. You are welcome, Christy. And Val, thanks for sharing this important information. Very much needed. Great show. Thank you, Val. And Emma, good conversation. Thank you, Emma Smith. We appreciate you so much. All right, good people. Well, you all have a great rest of the evening. I gotta just quickly mention Town Hall tomorrow, TMH FSU merger at Watson Temple at 6 o'clock. It will also be live on Conversations with Nicole and on the Tallahassee Alert page, Facebook page. And then Wednesday's show is going to be around history and identity with a local historian. So you don't want to miss it. All right. So y'all have a great rest of the evening, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.